Hello! It's Friday of the second week in Easter, and our reading today is out of 1 John chapter 3, verses 1 to 10. Now, this section begins with an awesome statement. John says, "Behold what manner of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called the children of God." That this is the ultimate expression of God's love and the ultimate description of God's love. That we understand what kind of love it is, because it is a love that makes us the children of God. How awesome is that? Now, the rest of the passage begins to deal with the difficult issue of sin in the life of the believer and sin in the life of the non-believer, and distinguishing between the two. Because John says that those who go on practicing sin, who practice sin as a lifestyle, as a continual way that they act, are not of God, and are not born of God. But those who don't practice sin as a way of life, they are born of God. And in some translations, this can be confusing, because sin in the Greek, in the present tense, we can just use the word sin, whoever sins in English. But the present tense in Greek implies a continuing, or indicates a continuing action. And we don't see that quite translated in some of our translations. For example, the New King James, which I prefer for a lot of things. But I've included the ESV, the English Standard Version, with the video today, so that the idea or the emphasis there on the practicing of sin, the continuing behavior of sin without repentance, is understood. So if we continue in sin as a lifestyle without repentance, we can't be born of God. But remember, we saw earlier in 1 John, if we say we have no sin, we're a liar and the truth isn't in us. It's always that tension in the life of the believer. So I want to encourage you with that earlier word of John, that if we say we don't have sin, we're a liar, and we confess our sin, and He's faithful and just to forgive our sin. If we continue in a lifestyle of sin and say that sin doesn't matter, then we can't be born of God, because the believer doesn't go about things that way. I want to encourage you with that word today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.